Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the She Reigns podcast. I am your host, Shanika, and I am so excited to be here. Look, I know my backgrounds keep on changing, but I have had to make some adjustments and changes inside of my household. So my studio is also / my workspace, and so I am in my garage, and I am enjoying this space thus far. I am sharing this space with my husband. So he has his man cave on one side. I have my studio, my podcast area on the other side. So this is where I am and this is where I shall be. So hopefully soon you have some pictures behind me on the wall to make it feel more homely, but not homely, but feel more, what's the word? It's gonna feel good, okay? A good vibe going on. So today we have our next edition in our podcast. Today is April the 12th, 2026. And yes, I have my notes on my computer. So if you see me looking off, that's what I'm looking at, okay? So if you have not done so thus far, be sure to follow me here on She Reigns podcast. Be sure to share this out. Also, be sure to download your free journal so you can write down tips that you've learned from each podcast or write down something that's helped you get through the week. Also, if you want to ask a question, be sure to email me at shereigns.podcast.com to ask a question. If you would like to join me on my She Reigns podcast, email me at shereigns.podcast.com as well. And that's something else that we can do and collaborate. And I would love to have you on my show as a guest. And I've also said, if something that I've said has touched you or made a difference, please email that to me as well. So I'm going to share one email that I got this week. I'm not going to share the name of the person, but she told me that this has been an inspiration and me being so freely to share. And she has been emotionally and mentally spring cleaning, doing her part as God does his. And you know what? That is what it's all about. We have to learn how to clean house, not just the home we live in, but our home that is our temple, that is our body. So today's topic is growing in good ground and nurturing who you are becoming. Growing in good ground and nurturing who you are becoming. Let's think for a minute, springtime, right? And so many of us may be planting or want to plant items in our yard. We may want to repot a flower we have in our house, but we want to plant things because it's springtime. It's time for renewal, a time for beautiful things to blossom and bloom. And so myself included, I'm going to get in my yard and, redo my mulch and try to find some flowers that will last in my yard. The sun sets in the front, so it's hard because things get burnt really easy and fast. But I have to make sure that I have good ground in which to plant these plants. And so I have to create an environment that is good for growth for my flowers in the front. So I do my research. I see what can pair well with roses as I have in my front yard. I also do my research to find out what flowers can deal with a lot of sun, full sun. I had begonias one year. They got burnt to a crisp. Did not do my research. And so the same way I work to tend my flowers and try to make sure they have good ground and good soil and the right amount of sunlight, we have to create an environment that supports our growth. We have to create an environment that supports our growth. So first of all, you have to ask yourself, where do I want to go? Where am I trying to go? How am I trying to grow? And then you have to be sure that your environment will support that. If you are trying to go back to school, but you know for a fact that you don't have support at home, you may not have the financial support, you may not have a computer, you may not have a quiet space in which to be, there are some things that have to change in order to help you get to where you're going. If I'm going to lose weight, I have to make sure that my environment supports that aspect of my life, meaning I have to make sure that I don't have a lot of sugars, a lot of sodas, all those temptations should be gone if I am truly serious about trying to lose weight. So, whatever area you're trying to grow in, your environment has to support that. I used to be a drug and alcohol counselor. And, if you're in recovery, if you're trying to get off of alcohol, there are other drugs that are still as tempting as alcohol, i.e. marijuana, cigarettes, other drugs. So you have to be sure that you're not surrounding yourself by any type of temptation. So whatever area you're trying to grow in, your environment has to support that area. And the power of routine and discipline, not talking about perfection, but just routine and discipline will help us find that good ground, help us to be able to do what we want to do. So for instance, in my flowers in my front yard, right? I have to make sure that I water them on a regular basis, that I am treating them on a regular basis. I have to have a routine that is set. Now, you don't want to overwater. You don't want to underwater. You have to get it kind of just right. So if you are trying to grow in your life, you have to get those things just right for you. If you want to go from point A to point Z, you have to ensure you have things in line. So having that set routine, having that discipline will help you get to where you want to go. You have to, as always, I've said this, protect your peace. That's a sacred practice. Protect your peace. Peace disruptors can be your family, your children, your husband, your wife, your whoever, okay? We have to protect our peace at all costs, because when your peace is gone, what you got left? You got to have some peace in your life. So find that peace, even if it is a quiet time for a few minutes out of your day, even if it involves, when I go walking sometimes, that's a peaceful moment for me as I walk in my neighborhood, because I have no distractions. That's my time alone. I can talk to God. I can, think about my day. That's a peaceful moment for me. So you have to be sure to carve out peaceful moments and times for yourself and protect that sacred space, because we need that. And that's a practice we have to do. Remember, watering your dreams with consistency, not pressure. My plants, I have to water them consistently, but I don't have to go at them full force. So if there is something that's an area in which you're trying to grow in, water those things consistently, but you don't always need to apply the pressure to it. Reading, working out, your eating habits, less doom scrolling, whatever it is you're trying to grow towards, continue to water with consistency and not pressure. We don't have to go full force all the time. We can slow things down some and still get to where we need to get to. Water your dreams with consistency and understand every season of life is not one that we are going to see the reap of our harvest. Sometimes we got to plant and let it just sit there for a while so it can grow. So that means that every time we do something, we may not see instantaneous results. Is that okay? Yes. But we are not going to give up in what we're doing. Keep on being consistent. Keep on watering your dreams. Practice that, have that peace. Also, practice routine and discipline, not perfection, but have that routine and discipline in place. And have our environment be so that it supports where we're trying to go. Y'all, life is hard. There is no rule book to how we do this thing called life except for the Bible. And so we have to be sure that we are helping to protect ourselves and get ourselves together as we navigate and go through. So if this has resonated with you, be sure to jot in your free journal. Be sure to email me. Just take some time out and think about what I've said, because We want to have that good ground, not just for our flowers outside, but for ourselves. We have to have the good ground for ourselves. So I want you to take a breath, say a prayer, adjust your crown, because you were built for this chaos. I hope you know that. I hope you believe it. And I hope that you have a wonderful, wonderful week. Take care.